So in this video, I'm gonna web scrape this local website that sells new and used cars with Python. And first I'm gonna web scrape all the information about these cars on the first page. And then I'm gonna show you how to web scrape all the cars in a given amount of pages. So first let's import the necessary data. And let's import the necessary libraries. And from BS4, I'm gonna import Beautiful Soup. And then we need to import requests. And then we need to import pandas as PD so we can save our information in a CSV file. And let's run this to make sure everything is okay. And it is. And first we need to store our website in a variable. So we're gonna create a variable called website and open quotations. And we're just gonna take the link here. So we're gonna copy this and press Ctrl V to paste. And next we have to get the request. So let's create a variable called response. Set that equals to request.get. And in between brackets, we put our website. Now let's look to see if we get a good status response code. So let's type response status code. And let's run this. And we get a status code of 200. And a status code of 200 means that it's a successful status response code. And the request has succeeded. So now let's create a soup object. Soup equals beautiful soup. And it takes two parameters, which is the response content and the HTML parser. And this will put all the HTML code of the website in this variable. So let's call out soup and let's run this. And we get all the HTML tags of this website. Let me comment this out, run. And now we have to get the results. So we're gonna call soup find all. And this takes two parameters. And to get those, we have to go back to the page. And let's click inspect. And what we want is all the information inside of this. So we have to find the, whoops, it went to the next page. So we have to find the corresponding tags. I'm just gliding my mouse over so I can find the element that this is under. So this is the container, so this is around here. Let me copy this and put it on another browser so we can see it. And what I want to do is get the year and name of the vehicle. So I'm gonna glide my mouse over until I can get that. And you see it's between strong tags and span tag. And all of it's inside of a div tag. So we're gonna take this div tag and this class. Let me just copy this. And then what we want, everything we want is in a div tag and in curly braces. Let's write class and let's open the name. Let's paste the name of the class. So let's see the length of this result, and we should get 15 because there is 15 vehicles on the page. So let's run this, and you see we get 15. And if we go over here, it's 1 of 15. It's 15 vehicles on this page. So now let's target the necessary data. And to do this, we're gonna call out our results variable and give it the location index of 0. And we need to find the tags that correspond with the information we want. So we said the year and name, it's between strong tags. So we want to write find, and in between the brackets of the find, we put the strong tag. And let's run this and see what we get. And you see we get the strong tag including everything that's in it. But we want to eliminate the HTML tags and just get our 2000, which is the first vehicle, 2000 Volkswagen. So after this, we're gonna write get text. And let's run this and see if it works. And you see we get 2000 Volkswagen. So I'm gonna label this the year and name. And next we wanna find the price. So let's go back to our page. And let's glide our mouse until it goes to the price. Okay, so we see it's in here. And the price is in a span tag with the class of price. So let me copy this. Go back, type results of the vehicle in our first index, find. And in between brackets, we said the tag was span, and the class was, we need to put class in between quotes. Control V to paste price, and let's only get the text. And let's run this. And you see we get the text, but we have some things before and after it. So to remove that, we use the strip function. Strip. And let's run this. And you see we get 36,000. If we go back to our page, the price of the vehicle is 36,000. Now let's get the KM and the transmission. Let's write KM results 0.find. Let's see what the tags our KM is in, the tag and class. And you see the class is mileage. So let's copy this, and the tag is span. So span. And we said the class, and we copy this. So let's paste it. Dot get text, and we want to strip. Let's see if everything is okay with that. And you see we got the kilometers. For the next one, I'm just gonna copy this instead of typing. And next we said we want the transmission. Now let's paste this. Let's go over here, and the class is transmission. Let's copy that. Instead of mileage, paste transmission. And the HTML tag is span. So let's run this, and you see we get manual, which is correct. Let's get this one, and this one will be in the first index. So let's type 1 here. Let's run this, and we get automatic. Let's redo this. And now next what we have to do is put everything in a for loop, since we want all the cars on the page. So let's put everything in a for loop. But before we do that, we need to create some variables with empty list. So let's create variables year names, set that to an empty list. The price, set that to an empty list. We have the KM and the transmission. So now let's create our for loop. So for our variable, we're gonna name res in results. Let's do the year name. And comment this out for notes. And we're gonna use try and accept here. So we're gonna try year name, and we're gonna use the append function. And what the append function does is whatever's in this bracket, it's gonna be plugged in this variable. And what we need to append is, let's call our variable result dot, and we can just copy this here. Let's copy that and paste it here. And then we're gonna create an accept, because if there's nothing to append in the variable, we'll get an error. So let's create this accept, and what it's gonna do is we're gonna append NA if there's no data to append in this variable. So n/a. Let's run this, make sure everything is okay, and it looks like it is. So now let's do the price. I'm gonna try price, and we wanna append into our variable that I created. And let's go up here and let's copy this. Paste it here to accept dot append. And you see we made a mistake here. NA. Let's do the same thing for KM. Try. And we can copy what we wrote up here. Let's give it an accept. And put km dot append. And finally, let's do the transmission. So try trans variable dot append result dot, gonna get what we wrote for the transmission here. Now let's write accept dot pen res dot, and we're gonna copy where we wrote for the transmission. Oh no. Gonna append NA. Let's run this to make sure everything is okay. And it looks like everything is fine. So now let's create pandas data frame. So let's call a variable called namcars and pd dot data frame. And in between this, we're gonna write it as a dictionary. So we're gonna create a column called name. And then we're gonna put our variable where we appended our results from the web page. Next, we want to create column price, then call our price variable. Let's create a column called kilometers. Set that to the variable km. And the next one is transmission. And we set that to our trans variable. Now let's call out our data frame, namcars, and run this. And you see we get the information for the 15 vehicles from our first page. And if you see here, it's 15. Shows one of 15 here. And now let's save this into a CSV file. So we're just gonna put 2_CSV. And in between brackets, we put what we want the name of our CSV to be. And I'm gonna call it first page. And we don't want to give it an index, so we set index to false. Let's run this. And now the folder where you have this file located, go to it. Scraping vid. Oh, we made a mistake. We need to write .csv because it's a CSV file. And let's run this. Now it should be here. Let me delete this one. Let's open this. And you see we scraped all our results into a CSV file. Now let's say if we want to web scrape 10 pages. So let me give this a heading. Scraping 10 pages. First we have to create an empty list, which we already did here. So let me just copy this. Let me run this. Paste this. And we're gonna create another for loop. So for I in range, and we want from page 0 to page 10. So the first thing we have to do is store our the URL in a variable equals. Let me go back over to our web page. So keep an eye on our URL as we browse through different pages. So I'm gonna go to page 2, and you see what changed was sales 2. Let me go to 3. The only thing that is changing is this number at the end of our URL. I can go to page 10 from here. And you see it took me to page 10. Let's go back to the first page. And we're back here. So the link we need to collect, let me copy this. let's paste this here. So we're gonna put I instead of the value that we see here. And how we do it, we remove, and then we're gonna add our I. But first, we have to make it into a string. So we do that by calling in our string function, and in between brackets, we put our I. Let's run this. And we see everything is okay. So let's go back here and we can copy these. Actually, we don't need the response code. What we need is our beautiful soup object. And let's copy this. And we can also bring our results. Let's copy this, paste. Let's paste it here. And let's create another for loop. So I'm gonna say for result in our results variable. And I think we can copy this same for loop up here. Copy this, paste it here. And we need to indent, because we will receive an error. In Python, we need to indent when we create for loops under where we start our for loops. So let's see the length of this year name over here. First, let's run this to see if everything is okay. And it's loading. Oh, it's gonna give me a mistake, because this should be the same as this. It's two different variables. So let me just make it the same variable and run this again. And we see everything is fine. So let's find the length of this year name variable. So length, year name, and we see we're getting the first 10 pages, from 0 page to the 10 page. So if there's 15 results per page and we multiply that 10, we should get 150. So let's run this cell. And you see here we get 150. Let's say we want the 20 from page 0 to 20. And let's run this. Let's run this cell. And it might take a little while because it's scraping data from 20 pages. And here you see we got 300, because 20 times 15, we'll get 300. So now let's store, I'm gonna call this 20 cars. Set that equals to pd dot data frame. And I can go up and copy and paste what I did here. Let's copy this, paste it in here. Now let's call out our variable. Let's run this. And you see we get our 300 cars. Now let's save this into a CSV file. So gonna call 20 cars dot to underscore CSV, and the name we want to give it is 20. I'll just give it 20 cars dot CSV, and we don't want any index, so we set index to false. And now let's run this. And let's look in our folder, and we see we got 20 cars, our CSV file. Actually, I should have named it 300 cars. I was saying 20 because the amount of pages. And here you see we have a list of all the car information that we scraped.